Hey, it's Chris Angel, and I wanted to follow up a video yesterday. It got me thinking. Yesterday's video was about direct mail and how to make it effective. And I think what I started thinking about was if I had a farm and I only had $300 to spend, how would I spend it? This goes to, I had a conversation last night on Facebook with one of the guys, a friend of mine that saw the video and said, I don't usually think of direct mail. And I think a lot of people don't think of direct mail because it seems old-fashioned. And I also think it gets expensive. And I think it's because we haven't really used direct mail strategically. We don't often see results from direct mail. And I addressed that in my video yesterday. But here's what I would do. If I had $300 a month to spend in a farm, here's what I'd do. It would be specifically with direct mail. And I would set up what I have been calling a tool shed, right? So you would, if you have a farm, you would create a tool shed, basically a collection of tools that your farm could use. And I would allocate $100 of that $300 to buy a tool, like a pressure washer or an air compressor, for example. So that's $100 out of my $300 gone. Every month I'm buying a new tool I'm adding to the tool shed. Then I have $200 remaining, right? So I'd take that $200 and I would split it out into two mailers. So I'm going to mail my farm twice. That leaves me $100 per mailer. Now that doesn't go very far in traditional direct mail. What most people do in mailing a farm is they mail the entire farm, all the stick-built homes, single-family residences in a farm, and that gets expensive. So here's what I teach in my Smart Farming program. If you guys haven't been a part of that program, this is what I teach. Go to your title company and do a title search of your farm and find the homes who bought 4 or 5+ years ago and longer, right? So now, if you have let's say you have a farm of 1,000 homes total, and of those 1,000 homes, 10%, right, have bought 4, 5+ years ago. It would probably be actually bigger than that. In which case you could go out and say, I want homes that were 7 years and longer. Now, why 7 years and longer? Because NAR says that people move on average, every 5 to 7 years, 7 to 9 years. So that people start getting that 7-year itch. So I'm going to build a mailing list of people who are getting closer to that 7-year itch. And that's where I'm going to choose to focus my money, right? I'm going to focus my money on people who are most likely to sell. That's who I want to build relationship with. That's who I want to add value to. Now, I'll add value to everybody, and everybody in my farm can participate in the tool shed. But the people I spend money on are going to be the people who have been there long enough to start getting that 7-year itch where they may want to sell. Okay, so let's now assume that I've done my title search, and in my farm I've found 100 homes, 100 homeowners who have lived there 7+ years. Now, I'm going to send 2 mailers to those 100 people. Now, if you figure each postcard is roughly $1, which is generous probably, but it's, figure color printing front and back plus postage, let's say it's $1 a piece. So that allows me to reach, 100 people twice a month. Okay. The first mailer I would send out would be about the new tool I just added to the tool shed. I'd say, hey, this is the tool. It's a pressure washer. You guys can borrow it for free. Go to this link. Here's how you do it. And you'd obviously set up a page on your website that would show them how to use it. That would be the first postcard. The second postcard, 2 weeks later, would be a postcard with a DIY project, right? Some type of thing that you could do with your pressure washer. And I would have an interview or a video of a contractor that I have in my referral network doing a project with a pressure washer, right? Whether it's the roof, although I think there's some jury's out on whether you should use a pressure washer on your shingles or not. But whether it's the roof or your siding or your sidewalks, I'd actually have 3 to 5 steps that my contractor walks them through using a pressure washer. Now, I would then, in my postcard, my second postcard, I'd actually say, hey, here's a project you can do with pressure washers. Here's 3 steps. And if you want to see the entire project, go to this link. And you'd link them back to your website. Okay. So that's it. That's what I would do. And I would do that every month. So 2 postcards a month. So this month is over. Next month happens. I go buy another $100 tool. or whatever, and then I take another $100 for the first mailer, $100 for the second mailer, and follow that template. The first mailer is always about what the tool is, how people can borrow it, and the second postcard is always some type of DIY project they can use with the tool. Now that has all sorts of utility and helpfulness in it. So over time, if you continue and you're consistent with your direct mail campaign, the idea is that people start reaching out to you now because you have stuff that can be helpful to them. Right? And if you get really smart with this, you can start to find ways to engage your farm by saying, hey, listen, like in the last couple months, I've sent these tools out. What tool do you want me to add next? And you start to get their participation in, right, what it is that they could benefit from. So now it's not just you using your intuition about what would be a good tool, but now you're asking them. And because it's been helpful, or because they don't actually have to use their money to buy it, you're going to buy it. Now they start interacting with you, right? And who is it that we spent money on? We're spending money on people who are getting closer to selling rather than just the entire farm. So we're focusing our dollar, okay? And that's what I really want you to get out of this is if I had to start over and I had to build a farm and I only had $300 a month, I would use direct mail. I wouldn't spend money on Facebook ads. There's too much of a learning curve there, right? It's too Wild West. It's too open-ended. I would use direct mail because I can hit specific targets who have been in those homes with the 7-year itch. That's where I'd spend my money. And it's not self-promoting. This is about helping a community. So there's all sorts of utility attached to this direct mail campaign, okay? So look, that's just my advice. That's my opinion. That's what I'd say to you. If you have $300, you're limited on budget, I'd say pick up a farm and go use that. Now, if you have thought about farming or you have a farm, look, I think it's important that you find the right farm to farm, right? You want to put your money in the right place. Why not stack the deck in your favor? So I have a resource for you. It's called a farm decision matrix. And it, like a multi-up comparison on a MLS printout, you can actually compare 4 to 5 farms next to each other to see what their statistics are, and you can figure out how many homeowners have lived here, what percent of homeowners have lived here 5 to 7 years, what percent of homeowners, what's the turnover of the farm, et cetera. And if you'd like that farm decision matrix, you can go to farmchecklist.com. Farmchecklist.com. It's a free download, and you can get that and kind of start stacking the deck in your favor. All right, gang, look, I love doing these videos for you. I intend to do more. If you guys have ideas for other videos or other ideas you'd like to explore, why don't you put that in the comments? I'd love to hear. Thanks, gang. It's Chris Angel. See you next time.